Aliens Colonial Marines is an infamous game, to say the least. Putting the game design, mechanics, and other issues aside, I've always been a sucker for new alien variants. Something you can count on in any Xeno-themed video game. While ACM lacked proper AI control of the aliens, in my opinion, the new alien types it brought forward were welcome additions to the Aliens expanded universe. I've already taken a look at the tank-like crushers and the deadly spitters. So for today, finally getting back on track, I thought it was only fitting to continue on and examine the Raven of Aliens Colonial Marines. Also dubbed the Reaver in early concept images, the Raven is thought to be a rare offshoot of the standard xenomorph that was encountered on LV-426 during the events of Aliens Colonial Marines from Gearbox software. The Raven is bigger than any drone or standard xenomorph. Seen here in concept art, this new alien would stand at almost twice the size of the Marine shown here for scale, likely standing at around 9 feet tall. A standard Xeno gets up to around 7 feet tall, and a good side-by-side comparison would be the Weyland-Yutani power loader, the same one Ellen Ripley used to escort a queen off of her ship. The Raven has what is called a digitigrade stance, meaning that it rests on the front of its feet like the clone Xenos of Resurrection. The upper half of the Raven would sit much like the queen, with its enormous tail stretching out behind it and its bulky head and arms leaning out to counter the weight. Its body layout, skeleton or exoskeleton-wise, is similar to that of other aliens, only larger, and it's dark black in color with bronze highlights like other aliens from the game. Looking at another piece of concept art shows us the range of head and tail types that were considered before coming up with the final look. With the Raven, the focus is on the head and faceplate area. The front part of the head is like that of the strain seen in Aliens, with the only smooth area being up front above the mouth. To add to that, the plate around the mouth seems to be damaged or something. It's cracked badly, with the nasal cavity and left eye socket exposed. Even the mouth was strange for an alien. There were no canines as seen on other large aliens like the Praetorians and the Queens. And strangely enough, its teeth were more human-like and organic, unlike the metallic-looking teeth of other aliens. Further confusing the lineage of this thing were its small tusk-like appendages on each side of the mouth. Moving beyond the Raven's face, you can see that its head is large and powerful with a bulk that almost hides its curved trademark inner shape. It has spines along the ridge of its head, sitting almost like a mohawk, and the tubes on the side of its face stick out farther than the ones on their standard cousins. But what could have caused the cracked up faceplate? And more importantly, how does the Raven fit into the Xeno family tree? Are its attributes caused by radiation exposure, a fight with other xenomorphs, or maybe even some kind of molting process? Mikey Newman, the writer for the game, said this in an interview about the aliens. "We have a lot going on with different types of xenomorphs," he explained. Alien 3 flirted with that a little bit with the dog alien, and we explore that a little bit. We explore what happens in 17 weeks, what they evolve into, especially with the atmosphere processor exploding and radiation. We did a lot to make sure all the xenomorph types make sense, but not to over-explain them. We don't even really talk about what the radiation is doing, it's just kind of there. So there it is, the aliens of the game are affected by radiation, but is that the case with all the aliens seen in the game? The AVP Fandom Wiki lists the Alien novelization as a counterpoint here, stating that in the book it explains that the processing station did not release nuclear fallout. But to me, the game and the film are not in the same universe, and even if you consider the game to be in canon with the films, the novels and the films exist in their own separate canon, as Alan Dean Foster was known to stray from the film in areas of his books. In the DLC to the game, Stasis Interrupted, Michael Whelan says that the Xeno specimens from the colony were all destroyed, but I'm not sure if I'd believe him here. It wouldn't matter either way, the derelict still likely has eggs that the company hasn't harvested yet. Well, since there was radiation from the processing station in this alien universe, and Gearbox says the aliens could be mutated, then why look any further? The Raven as a mutated alien does seem plausible. Even the Alien Anthology Fandom Wiki says the Raven is a new variant and is a possible result of a chestburster that has been infected or mutated by the radiation. On top of that, of all the other aliens encountered here, the lurkers, the boilers, the spitters, and the crushers, one of them really sticks out as an alien that may be under the effects of radiation. And that would be the boilers. I'll go more into them in their own explained video, but let's just say they don't look well, much like a diseased or mutated alien. I mention this because they are seen in the sewers just like the Raven, so it's possible that this area has become irradiated. Now there are other possibilities for its origin. The Raven was a one-off in the game, and maybe it wasn't meant to be included in the mutated alien blanket statement. There were Weyland-Yutani facilities set up there, so it's also very possible that the Raven is simply another experiment made by the company. Some have even theorized that the Raven may in fact be the all-important alien that infected the space jockey from the first film, causing him to land on LV-426, beginning the Alien saga. Pre-prequel, that is. This distinction is normally held by the Ultramorph, a creation of Carlos Huante, or the jock xenomorph of games and of comics. And I have to admit, these all fit the mold of a space jockey or engineer alien better than the Raven does. Its stance is wrong and the body proportions are off. I would also note that if we do take the prequels into context here, we have even more reason to believe that this is not from an engineer. For one, it's weaponized, something that was added to the strain by David. If this was an alien from an engineer without David's influence, it should be more organic, like the Ultramorph or the Neomorphs. Now, some of the aliens from the game, like the Crusher and the Spitter, made appearances in the Protoss AVP game, where they were given even more standard origins. Here they were simply stages of known xeno variants, like the Crusher being a type of Praetorian, instead of having been mutated. But the Raven, unfortunately, didn't make it over to the game. Since the game doesn't come right out and flatly state the Raven is a mutated alien, what about the simple explanation? Xenomorphic variants. With their amazing levels of adaptability, we already have so many different subgroups of aliens. So much so that it's likely that no hive or group is exactly like any other in the universe. It's this drive to live in any situation that gives us all of these different xenos. The Aliens Fandom Wiki notes the rumor that the Raven could be a cross between a standard alien warrior and a lurker alien, but I just don't see it. While the AVP Fandom Wiki says that it may be a Praetorian lurker, which I do admit can be seen in the Raven. They both have similar stances and those long arms and fingers, so I guess it's possible with age that the lurker gains size, spikes, and starts to lose that smooth dome piece, transforming into the Raven that we know. There are also theories out there linking the Raven to the Queen alien. We've seen Royal Guard aliens molt or change into queens when needed, so is the Raven one of these stages of a possible queen? I'll admit I still like the idea of xenomorphic variants for the Raven's creation over theories of radiation, especially when you take into account that aliens have been able to survive in almost any environment, even space. So it's not known if radiation would even affect them. During the events of Aliens Colonial Marines, Corporal Winter would get taken by the alien and cocooned in the lower sewers of Hadley's Hope, where the Raven made its home. A wet, humid environment, similar to the area that we saw the Queen and her brood use in Aliens. There must be some kind of benefit that they get from the added moisture that is still unknown. This behavior would show us that the Raven does have the same instinct as other aliens do, taking humans to be used as incubators for new aliens over outright killing them. While in combat with the Marines, their weapons were all rendered useless due to its armor, be it guns or explosives. The team was only successful in taking down the Raven when they donned the Wei-Yu power loader and eventually crushed the thing to death. In return missions to LV-426 from the expanded universe, no other Raven aliens have been encountered. However, it does show up in the Book of Alien Augmented Reality Survival Manual, listed under the section of Alien Identification. The entry is very brief, and there's no mention of where they've been seen, and if the book is only referencing the Raven from Aliens Colonial Marines. It would note that the Raven is larger in size than the average xenomorph. The rarely seen Raven is closer to a queen in size and intelligence. Likely a leader, the Raven walks on 2 legs, and has a ridge of spines on its tail and carapace. Its stats say that it's mobile, aggressive, and highly dangerous, standing at 10 feet tall or more, and blackish green in color. And that is all the information that I can find out there on the Raven. What do you guys think about the Raven Xenomorph? Should it appear again on film or in other expanded universe materials? Where does it fit in with other aliens? Is it a lurker crossbreed? A Praetorian variant or Praetorian lurker, if you will? Could it be some kind of proto-queen? Or is it a radioactive mutant xenomorph? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. And as always, your likes, comments, shares, and subscriptions are appreciated and go a long way towards helping the channel grow. Thanks again, and I hope to see you next time.